suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.
Good to be with you. Really good to be with you. This is all about the golden touch. Now, first of all, magic. Is it bullshit or is it real? Well, look, actually, this reality that we live in, that we think is solid and definable, is pure magic. Because if you were a physicist and you were able to look at the subatomic level, you'd know that all the world of matter is merely a bunch of atoms having a dance. That's right. And the being, the presence that causes this dance to be, the Chinese, for some reason or other, called Tao. And they called this presence Tao and kind of described it a maternal quality, something soothing and nurturing, life-generating. But a beautiful mother who would feed you if you allow her to. You trust your mama and she takes care of you. That's the basic premise of the whole Taoist system. And they were very big into magic. That's how I first got into it all. I heard about Taoist magic when I was a young hippie. Taoism was famous then for its magic, and that was it. This is in the days before there was internet to find anything out about. Somehow or other, you came across the information you needed. So off I went to Hong Kong and did a little bit of studying of that for a while. And what I learnt first was that everything, as I'm saying, is magic. It's the Tao doing a conjuring trick. And this holds itself in shape. That's the magic bit. Momentarily, because from the perspective of eternity, even a whole universe disappears in a twinkling of an eye. So forms only stay together for a while because everything is in motion. And what the Taoists discovered, which is what I've been playing with and sharing with you in these beautiful, wonderful satsangs, is the following. That by embodying the actual being that is informing you, so rather than just embodying the self that you've grown accustomed to, the one that you've developed over the years in response to the world around you and the challenge of interfacing with it, you can embody the big presence, the being that is informing and is the substratum of the entire universe. And by embodying the being, because this is also another basic premise of Taoist practice, by embodying this Tao, you are then able to intervene at the level of intentionality and effect real shifts in external reality. And the way this is done is by first forming a clear intention for what you want. Secondly, it's gathering the qi. Now the qi is the electricity, the subtle electricity that comes off everything being in motion. So everything being in motion causes energy. It's friction. You know, atoms spin against something. Planets spin against things. It's like everything's spinning against something, even if it looks like nothing. And all of this causes friction, if you like. This is a crude way of explaining energy. I'm doing my best. They call this qi. It's the effect of the Tao expressing itself in manifest form and setting itself in motion. And this qi is receptive to, indeed is one with, consciousness. In other words, the qi is not some stupid phenomenon. The qi is intelligent. And when you, as an entity, when you as a nexus of life and consciousness, embody by choice the big one, the Tao, and you, with your intention, declare, yes, this shall be so. And then you gather the qi and you envelop the picture of what you're seeing happening with the qi. It then has the power of the motion of all the universe behind it and will come to pass. Now, this is not something you can use to contrive results. If a result is not in harmony with the great flow, no matter how clever you are with your magic, you will never make it shift and happen that way, only by force. Only the things that the Tao is flowing into being anyway can you then invite into your orbit of experience. And you could say, yes, they were going to come there anyway, because that's how destiny works. However, in this paradoxical existence that we inhabit, it also requires our consent for it to occur. It's a very beautiful symbiotic dance. And ultimately, of course, it's just the one being agreeing with itself. It just happens to be in your particular form. The important part is getting a clear intention, one broad enough to encompass all the apparent contradictions in your desires and somehow take care of everybody that needs taking care of, even when it looks totally impossible. In other words, you have to be able to zoom out far enough to get enough of a panoramic view to create the intention that will accommodate everyone and everything required for life to move as harmoniously and smoothly as can be for you and everyone. The next stage is, having gathered the qi, having set the intention, gathered the qi, is to clear space. You have to empty yourself of self. You have to empty yourself of the desire. You have to empty yourself of the fear of it not coming. You have to empty yourself of all your opinions and your beliefs and your stories and your descriptions and your reference to your identity as this physical person. You have to empty yourself of all of it completely. And I'll tell you why. It being summertime, I do have this dilemma every year. Summer coming. I don't like to wear jackets in the heat, of course. And I have many things to carry around with me. And they won't all fit in the pockets of my jeans, although I have made valiant attempts at doing it that way. But I do have 3 phones, different lines, and 3 different thises and that's and all the rest of it. And so I bought myself a nice, neat little over-the-shoulder bag thing. And it didn't really, it's a nice little thing, quite a bit of space in there. And I didn't have many things compared to the size of the bag to put in there. You know, wallet, phones, pen, notepad, bits and pieces like that. But give it 3 weeks, this is when I bought it, it is now filled with utter crap that I have managed to accumulate without even realizing over 3 weeks of time. And this is only a very little example, but it exemplifies how create any space, and you'll know this from your own bags and shelves and cupboards and car boots and all the rest of it, the space will be filled. Nature abhors a vacuum. So if you wish your orbit of experience to embrace and include something wonderful and new and apparently bigger than what's already there now, you have to first clear the space away. But before I say another word and go further into this like a bird in flight, I might just stop for a moment and just take a reference on where we are and what we're doing. Because here we are in our multitude around the planet, traversing rather the different time zones. So we've all got different experiences of the light and the temperature. The place we sit on the planet is different anyway to everybody. We're all having our different experiences of life. We've all got our stresses and our strains. We've all got our desires and our hopes and our feelings of failure and our feelings of triumph and all the stuff that we all carry around with us. These entire universes and people by many, 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 many people that we know and interact with. And we have these responsibilities and these duties and all the rest of it. And we all know that at the end of it we're going to die. And we all know that this isn't really all there is to it. But we get caught up in that drama consistently. And yet, here we come together in a circle, as it were, and we divest ourselves of all of that. Momentarily, we let go of the whole story. And we sit together, although we're not even in the same space, like spirits or angels, which is actually, when you go into this work deep enough, what you find out that you are. And even that is merely a form. You dissolve out of that one, and there is just the big one, the Tao. So there's all of us having our different lives, and yet we come together and we can share this pure consciousness. I thank you for your grace in allowing me to guide this session and these sessions. And it's a privilege and an honor. And the point of this one today is to give you the golden touch. Now, the golden touch comes from some fairy tale or other, or was it a Greek myth? I can't even remember. King Midas, wasn't it? And I'm not really usually given some cliches, but I've always liked golden. Anything golden always appeals to me. The word, no, it's not gold, but golden. Something like, not silk, but silken. I love that bit. The golden touch in the Taoist idiom is called doing it with 4 ounces, or if you're in the metric zone, doing it, this sounds so silly, doing it with 110 grams, which means, metaphorically speaking, of course, and only metaphorically speaking, that you never exert more pressure than is needed on any situation, anyone, or anything, nor do you ever exert any less than the optimal amount. And when you have tasks to do, you go at them patiently and consistently and diligently and perseveringly and cheerfully, positively and optimistically, and you arrive refreshed as you started at the end of your task load, and everything is well. You don't struggle, you don't strain. If you meet with opposition, you go round it. Like water, you flow, you never stop, you don't go stagnant, you don't rush, you just go with the tempo of the natural current of the energy informing all the events that are occurring in your life. And what will happen as a result of us doing this session today, which is essentially triggering, like waving a magic wand, will be a shift in the conditions of your actual material life, as it will for me. This, in turn, will have a knock-on effect for everyone that you're involved with, and as ripples move outwards from them to everyone they're involved with, and on and on and on, until all sentient beings, including all the dogs and cats and everything and everyone, are somehow infected in a positive way by the power of us waving our collective magic wand today. I cannot predict how it will look, even for myself, let alone for everyone else, or how long it will take. I can't predict on what levels it will start working and how it will show up and why or in what form or any of that. But I do know that whenever we come together and we join our intention as one, just for a moment, we power up a whole stream of new activity which brings us all the opportunities and the expanded conditions our hearts and souls desire. And if you don't like the sound of that, you want some pleasing. So take a moment now to settle in your skin. Feel being you in your body to begin with. Be aware of you as the person in the world, the you, the worries and the stresses and the strains and all the things that you think about incessantly from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep and then on in your dreams. That you, the busy you, the you involved in the drama, get a feel for that you. This is the you that you concocted from day one in reaction to the world around you. And you've done a very, very good job of it. It's an art form and a work in progress, but that's all it is. Be aware of it and notice that it situates itself in the front of your body where it can get a closer view of the action going on around you. And be aware that behind that is the much deeper self, the one that bears witness to life unfolding impartially, compassionately, with joyful anticipation. That part of you which is the innermost watcher, the innermost witness bearer. And that part of you, that bit of you, resides most comfortably, serenely and tranquilly in your back. So if you were to divide your body down through like the, I don't know what's the word for that, if you were to slice through, like if you had you standing in I don't know, you have this bit where the middle bit, like if you looked at the side of your body, there'd be a line going down the side that would separate the front from the back. Yeah, that's what I'll explain it. And it's everything behind that line, basically. It's the bit where your innermost watcher resides. Be aware of that. Just get a sense of being that in the back of you. And while you're there, let your mind, this organ of thinking, also have a rest and slide back into the back part of the mind, the brain rather. Because when the consciousness is drawn into the rear part of the brain, then you are thinking with the mind of the inner presence. You are then thinking with the mind of the witness bearer. And the witness bearer is the Tao having a peek through you. So what you are, what I am, what we all are, those people things, are just masks. They're just fronts, behind which there is the big presence informing all reality. And when I say big, that of course is merely relative, because as you know, if you want to look for it, the easiest place to find it is in the smallest subatomic particle. That's how clever it is. Yet, in our way of seeing, when we're in manifest form, the presence informing the entire universe is universal in size. And for us, in the world of relativity, that is huge. Be aware of the hugeness of this presence in the back of you. And not just what's in the back of your body, but what's behind you. And then be aware that it's not only behind you, it's actually all around you, as well as within your back. It's also even in the front of you. But when you let it be in the front of you, you'll notice an interesting thing happens. The you that you concocted, that drama referenced you, isn't there anymore. See, because as soon as the Tao takes residence in the front of your body as well, as soon as the rear witness bearer also takes command of the front, there just isn't any space for that drama person. Just isn't any space for it. That doesn't mean that they had to go anywhere. It doesn't mean that they had to be pushed outside or anything. They didn't exist in the first place. All they were was in your imagination. And of course, at the end of this session, you can use your imagination, will do, most definitely, adroitly and instantly, to reassemble that version of you. Because that's what Freud called your ego, it's what you need. to go out in the world. It's like you need to wear clothes. That's what I know, you'd be naked. I really need it, but that's how we operate. But now you have the luxury of being what and who you really are, and that's you in the back of you. Allowing you to also be all around you in all directions forever and ever, as well as in the front of you. Breathe slowly. Use the body to breathe slowly. And let the breath feel like silk. And as the breath slows down and feels like silk, the mind slows down and feels like silk as well. So now the tone of your consciousness is silken, soft, and the breath, the elixir of life itself, is flowing uninterruptedly in and out. And in this moment, all is well. So you can afford to let all the weight and the noise of the upper part of the body fall down where it wants to go, towards the center of the earth, through into your hips and your legs, into the floor, and so that you feel heavy in the lower part, grounded, rooted. The upper part of you feels light and free and empty and airy. Allow the sense of your physical being to assemble itself around a point just below your belly button. Feel that as the center of your existential gravity. And visualize that the two halves of your chest are like a pair of sliding doors that open up to the sides to reveal your heart center, like a cluster of beautiful precious jewels, bedecked in flowers and smelling fine and beautiful, emitting a rose, gold, violet, emerald, aqua-coloured light that represents the light of love that heals. And by having the front of the chest open like this, but with you still maintaining the backdrop position, you're able to receive all your members of the entire human family, as well as all other living creatures, at a soul level. And simultaneously, you're able to emit the very essence of the beauty of who and what you are from your heart center to all sentient beings. And specifically in this moment, this means everyone in our circle. And it's a hallowed circle. It's an honor for all of us to be part of this. Get a feeling that the top of your head is growing towards the sky, while the base of your spine is urging towards the center of the earth. And get a feeling that your spine, your backbone, stretches for hundreds and hundreds of miles up and down. And get the same feeling that goes through your shoulders, through the shoulder girdle, the thoracic area of the body. Feel as if it stretches from one hand to the other, off into infinity. So huge. Your shoulder girdle is so huge, it's so broad. And your breastplate, which now feels as big as a planet at least, maybe as big as a galaxy, just naturally wants to float upwards and outwards. Yet, you don't arch your back because you're lengthening it. Now you notice that you feel bigger, you feel expanded, you feel able within to accommodate far more of what the Tao has coming to you. So now, sitting all the way back inside, like a queen or a king sitting back in the throne of the throne room, feeling safe and secure that the sentries are guarding the front of the palace, so you don't need to go out. Everything perfectly safe. It's magic time. And the first thing we have to do is to create intention. Now, you don't have to think about this, because what we're doing is not actually manufacturing a reality. What you have to do is be empty and discern where your soul is yearning towards. You already know what's coming in your subconscious mind. And if you allow yourself, without impeding the flow with your rational mind, your imagination will fling up for you pictures. Because I say imagination doesn't mean it's not real. It's the nation of images. It's just, this is where you see it. It's the movie screen. not the faculty. Allow your imagination to present you a picture of what's to come, the what you want of what's to come, the thing that your heart and soul is yearning for. Don't inhibit it with rational thought. Don't put blocks on it, imagining that it's going to be difficult, filled with obstacles. What we're about to do is to initiate a quantum jump, not a little incremental step, but a quantum jump. And remember, quantum jumps are not just in a forward direction. The way it works is in circles, ever-expanding concentric circles that sit all the way around you, you in the middle. And a quantum jump is just moving from one ring to the next ring out, which, because it's further out, is naturally bigger and therefore encompasses more of what there is on offer for you. Now, when you allow the pictures to come, it's inevitable that your local mind will want to intervene, change them, edit them, put filters on them, move the personnel around, all kinds of stuff, rewrite the stories as happening. But that doesn't matter, because any of it that isn't sort of from your true soul will just fall away anyway. But there are bits of it, the kernel of it is there. You can see it. You can feel it if you can't see it. You can feel it in your heart, and that's enough. You don't even have to define it in words or pictures. You can just get a sense of what it is that your soul is wanting to open up to. And it will include triumph. It will include the sense of victory over adversity. It will include feeling totally and utterly safe and serene. It will include feeling really sharp in the mind. It will include feeling a great sense of joyfulness at all the beautiful people in your life. It will include new people coming in and old people going out. It will include all the wherewithal you need to come to you. It will include, and more importantly than anything, a much greatly enhanced dialogue with this inner presence, with the spirit of the adventure that you're on. That's how quantum leaps work. I don't know the specifics. You probably might not yourself, but it's enough to know the intention is to expand into the next circle. And this has to be done with just 4 ounces, not 1,000 pounds. So because it's big doesn't mean you have to instigate it with a bang. Because it's big, it's much better to start off by just a little push of 4 ounces, because that's what instigates the real flow. Before we do, get a sense of the entire pantheon of blockages that you subscribe to in your mind, these reasons that you can't move the next circle out. You know, we all have them. We all have our own circle blockers. Just get a sense of where your circle blockers are in your body. You'll probably find them around your liver, the stomach area, and to some extent a bit further down and back in the organs, but mostly the liver and stomach area is energetically where we hold these crippling and crippled beliefs that inhibit the true opening into what and who we really are, and with that all the abundance of all things that we want. And get a feeling that wherever you're finding it, that it's almost like a pile of factors that can be picked up and put in a sack. See that happen. See yourself scooping up the energetic imprint, the template of all the blockages and all the ways that you stop yourself truly flowing, that are related to various people in your life and so on and so forth, and put them in the sack, knowing that when you do, anyone in your orbit that is attached to those things will go with it. Because when you're throwing this sack away now, anyone who's been somehow colluding with you in perpetrating this crime against yourself will have to be somehow impelled away from your orbit. That's kind of how it works. So being a sense of it's not the things or the people or the actual thoughts that you've got to get rid of, it's the underlying essence of all of it. And put it all in a big sack and throw it into the sea or into the abyss, wherever you're seeing, with your left hand. Gone, gone. And now, being sit inside yourself all the way in the back, you're in command of the front and everything about that. And you are space. There is no self. All there is Tao. And you have your intention. And Tao, in the knowable sense, is energy. It's chi. So that you are right now, as am I, as we all are, in a field, an infinite field of chi. Being aware of this, you might want to make hand gestures as if kind of very slowly scooping a massive circle in front of you. I know I am spontaneously, I just noticed that. You're gathering the chi from all around you, so to speak. It's like you're gathering water when you're in the sea. You know that feeling, where you're whooshing it and drawing it towards you. And draw it into your belly and your chest and make it really feel beautiful with it. And then just direct your palms away from you in front to give the chi to this picture of what it is that you want. And do see it. See yourself safe and secure. See yourself free, free, free. See yourself abundant with all things that you need. See yourself healthy and strong. See yourself, above all, feeling filled at every cell of your being with absolute joy. The pure glee simply to be alive, no matter what. And with that beautiful, clear, pure thought and intention, knowing that in the hours and the days that follow this session, results will occur. Wriggle your fingers and wriggle your toes and wriggle your ears and wriggle your nose and bring your circulation back so that you can participate in the question and answer session, which will be facilitated by my esteemed colleague, friend and producer, Sue O'Connor.
Hello. This is from David.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do. You have helped so many, myself included. My question is, how do you practice trusting the inner voice?
Hi, David. It's a really interesting one, this. It's one of those things that once you do it, once you get it, you can't remember not doing it. You can't understand how you never did trust it. I remember, I don't know about you, I think this is common to most children. Up to the age of, say, 7 or so, or 8, there was a sense of being guided by a voice. I used to feel it as a big old woman, actually, that filled the sky. This was counter to any religious training I had, obviously. It was instinctual. I just sort of knew that it was like a big mama everywhere. And she used to talk to me and tell me what to do. I didn't go into a whole trip about it being her or anything. Just a sense of a voice saying, go this way now, go that way and do it. I think all children have that. And then we lose it around about 7 because we get all involved with vanity, really, you know, looking good, fitting in, not wanting to be left out, all that stuff, the socializing aspect. When I remember doing treatments, I used to have an acupuncture practice, and in the early days, back in 1983 when I first started, and people would come, and I'd get these, I'd take the pulses, and I'd get what was going on with the organs and everything, but I'd also get pictures that come up. And I'd hesitated from saying them because you've got to remember in the 80s, the world had gone really quite materialistic and there wasn't a lot of awareness around about energy. I remember in the 80s you had to say to people, how does acupuncture work? You're moving the energy through the body. Energy? What energy? What's energy? No, really, people didn't get what energy was. It was like a really kind of a heretical kind of thing to imagine there was such a thing called energy. And so I used to hesitate, not saying what it was, and I don't know why. after about a year of it, I just couldn't contain myself anymore. So, because I get them with everybody, the pictures, and I'd say, when you were 7, da-da-da-da happened to you, blah, blah, blah. Is that right? And they go, yeah, how do you know that? Because you'd see it. It would just, you'd see it in the field. And the reason I'm saying it is because it was that process of taking a jump. It was like you had to risk it somehow. Maybe I'm going to look like an idiot. And that's the same with trusting our intuition with ourselves, with our own journey. Because the worst that can happen is that you were deluded and you made a wrong move. But, you know, it's only a game. And the worst that can happen is you die, because you're going to die eventually anyway. So it's not really that crucial to the universe and to your big self, whether you get it right or wrong. However, the more you come into your back and sit in there, the more you are one with the owner of that voice. That's the beautiful thing about this. There's not something outside of you anymore. This God that we talk about is actually inside, and it's in your back. It's watching from the back, metaphorically speaking, or sort of psycho, or kind of metaphorically and physically in a way, or psychospatially. The more we learn to embody the big presence in the back of us, the more, or the less the chatter of the local mind gets in the way. And it actually becomes impossible to not do it any other way. Like, I only can live through the intuition. I don't really have much of a faculty for that other way anymore. It doesn't seem to kind of work for me. And there are many times where I think, oh, I must be insane doing it like this. But somehow or other, it does work out. Things work out when you follow the flow from being in the back of you. And I've noticed that whenever I'm panicky, I'll start creating horror movies in my head about what could go wrong or anything. By sinking into the back rather than being in the front where all that drama noise is going on, it all falls away, and this voice just goes, it's all going to be fine. And it really means it, and it really is true. And it's not like I'm reassuring myself. There's a real sense of that voice going, you know, and if there's danger, it will say, move away from there, go see, do not do this. It's just a process. And it's achieved by being in the back of you and focusing where the upper brainstem is. So the top of the upper brainstem, where it kind of meets the base of the brain, that's the sort of the dissemination point of the information your subconscious is privy to, which is limitless. That's all the information that ever is, was, and will be, is being received constantly by your subconscious. That's what it does. It's a nexus of the universe. So it gathers constantly, and it feeds to you whatever your conscious mind is willing to accommodate according to the story you've made up about what the world is. So it has to fit within that frame somehow, otherwise you just totally miss it. You don't even see it. Same way you don't see atoms or, you know, whatever else. I hope that's somewhat useful.
Okay, we've got questions rolling in thick and fast now. So Malkit says, hi Stephen, ever grateful for your satsangs and meditation sessions, and yes, this was damn lucid, this one. And her question is, as we develop awareness and practice mindfulness and at the same time enjoy spontaneity and play without getting too attached, if you know what I mean.
I do. You see, what you're talking about is that the way we think of things in the West is it's either this or it's that. We're just slowly starting to learn that it's this and it's that. That's reality rather than it mustn't be this because it's that. We all know that it's yin and yang, it's a bit of both. So the art is to observe yourself by being in the back of you, observing the local self acting out, observing this step-down version of the divine playing in the world and getting drawn to people and drawn to things, or repelled by people or repelled by things or whatever, and making its drama about it all and yearnings and whatever and being lost in all that. But you remain in the back of you watching it. And you know that the yearning for no matter what is actually at the root a yearning to be back in the big presence. That's the funny game of all of this. We yearn for people because we think they're going to give us the thing that we think we're missing. And they don't. You know, they just give us a bit of a story to play with or the company or whatever they're going to give us. But still, the presence can only really be accessed within. Once it is accessed, the desire for all these things around does truly start to fall away. So there's two ways of going at the desire thing. Because the Buddha said that the root of all suffering is in desire. But he didn't mean that you mustn't desire things. What he meant is that there are ways of managing the process of desire, different ways to experiment with. He was known to ask, is freedom from suffering, attained through acting out your desires or containing them? And the reason he asked that was because he didn't know, presumably. And there isn't an answer to it. The answer is not either this or that. The answer is both. So you contain yourself, you remain centered within, in your back, breathing, relaxed, aware of where you are. This is the miracle. I am alive. I've got the gift already. I've already won the prize. I'm here. This was the prize. I got here. Here I am now. They're all the trinkets of life. They're just the trinkets of life. And I'm free to play with them as I will. And I stay rooted in myself. I remain in my back. I observe. I have a few little rules or guidelines, which is be kind to everybody as much as possible, be respectful as much as possible, and make it easy for people rather than difficult as much as possible, and so on and so forth. And aside from that, just roll with it and love every minute of it. And if you do it mindfully, the bits that aren't so good for you do seem to fall away naturally of themselves, and it just kind of flows. There's no need to do either or. You be in your body and you experience. Everything is Tao. So when you meet somebody, say, that you find attractive and, whatever, they're Tao. That's Tao in the shape of them. You can buy the disguise if you want to. You can delude yourself into thinking they are that separate thing. But they're not. They're just a form that's changing over time. That is an expression of the Tao. And if you stay focused on the relationship with the presence, the big presence, in everyone, in everything, and you love the presence in everyone and everything, the attachment to situations, places, and people gradually diminishes. And I talk from experience here, purely and utterly. And I was a hard case. I really very, very habituated to the joys of the world. And over time, without pause, by being mindful, the desire for this, for that, for this, for that, which at one point was compulsive, is no longer. The other way of denying it, or pushing it away, or pretending you don't have the desire and all the rest of it, only leads to the incredibly fucked up society we live in. So it's about being real with it all, rolling with it, respectfully, lovingly, with 4 ounces, and knowing that whatever you're doing, wherever you're going into, whoever you're going into, is Tao. All of it is Tao, and that's the discipline. So the spiritual warrior can stay in the monastery and meditate, very strong to do that. You have to be very strong, and meditate all your desires away, and I have the greatest respect for people who can do it. Or they can go out and be in the world and live the meditation of being a person, but from the back.
Helena says, thank you very much for all your help last time. I had a pain in between my eyes during the session and kept coming and going, although I kept pushing it away.
Is that a question?
It's either a question or a comment, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's your kind of like the doorway of the third eye, the opening of the mysterious passageway there between the eyebrows, and the habituations of thinking in the front brain, which is where we do all our inner conversations, is probably so strong that when you draw yourself back and sit in the back, it's a bit of it's hanging on. No, don't go, and it kind of stretches yourself from the front of your forehead to the back a bit. Maybe it hurts for that reason. But you'll find that tension when meditating is a good thing because it shows you where you're stressed without having previously realized it. So when you stop, you let go, and you go really internal, you actually can feel what you're doing to yourself, whereas normally when you're in a distracted state, you can't. It's a really funny thing. I did a favour to a friend of mine. I did a little team building talk for her company, and there were some new people there, and the feedback was most people really got a lot from it. There were 1 or 2 who said that it just wasn't their kind of thing. They're not into that kind of thing. And the kind of thing it was a reframe. It was like you go to work, you're in the trance of work, and you think, it's me, I go to work, go to the office, that's work. Well, actually, that's just a construct. what's really going on is a group of people are coming together for goodness knows what reason and being in a space together, in a room, in a building or whatever. And if you go in with an intention, your underlying mission for the day of making everyone feel beautiful and better about themselves without having to do anything about it or act differently, just have it as an intention. And notice people and see the presence in everyone. So be somebody who is a channel of consciousness. Not only will you have a wonderful day and get a great result for others, you'll find that you'll do your work better and enjoy it all a lot more. And then I explain how you do this practically by remaining centered in the rear part of the body. I also explain that this is something that comes from and is used a lot in the martial arts to gain victory over an opponent. So, that's it definitely works, this stuff. And to them, that was like, I'm not into that stuff. Like, what stuff? That's the human condition. How can you not be into what goes on inside of you? It's remarkable, isn't it? So what we're doing here is we're just becoming aware of what's going on inside of us. And a lot of what's been going on has been pain and stress and so on and so forth. So that's what you'll find. It might not even been stress in the forehead. It could have been in the liver, and the heat came up and got stuck there. It's not important, though. It will dissipate. They're not to be worried about.
Chris says, an awesome satsang. Thank you, Barefoot. Any tips for maintaining focus and perseverance on a long project?
Hey, Chris. Yes, I really, from the coalface itself, can tell you, really, seriously, this is I've had to pull on all my resources of inner perseverance for this. And it's, again, you go into the back constantly whenever you're getting a bit panicky and thinking, I can't do it. You go into the back, you restate your intention. I can do this. My intention is to do it successfully, easily, swiftly, enjoyably and miraculously, and to feel amazing at the end of it all. And I have the resources inside of me. I have the stamina. I have the power. I have the vision. I have the will, and so on. And I intend to go all the way to completion and beyond. And the visualization that I'd recommend is, this is from a game I played as a kid often, because I grew up in London. I used to go to Oxford Circus and make myself walk from Oxford Circus to Marble Arch in 4 minutes. And I'd always pick it at rush hour when everybody was crowded the pavements. It's a very busy shopping street, you don't know. And the deal was, I learned how to do it. I didn't. The game was, I mustn't speak to anybody. I mustn't say excuse me, and I mustn't touch anyone. So there must be no contact of any kind with anybody the whole way, and I mustn't get stopped. I have to get there in 4 minutes. It was a mad game. I played it quite recently, actually, and the way I developed it was, I figured out, you keep your eyes focused on the ground, on the pavement, past the person who's going to get in your way, and you just keep walking towards that. You keep your gaze on the ground beyond where you're actually, where the obstacle is, in other words, or the potential obstacle. So if the obstacle, and you get there, it's amazing, people move out of the way. It's really interesting. It's a great thing to try. I hope I've explained it clearly. It's a beautiful game. So when you're in a busy place with people walking this way and that way, rather than dither about, keep your focus on the floor past where the potential obstacles are, and people will move out of your way without you looking at them, saying anything, doing anything, or just keep walking. And it's the same for getting to the end of the project. So you see yourself, Chris, at the end of it all, triumphant and feeling that beautiful feeling of grace and relief and expansion and, oh, life is magnificent, well done me. And see yourself there, and you're actually already there. And then you just, all you have to do is expand to embody that being who's already there, and you will get from here to there, and it will be easy. It's great when we start thinking laterally in terms of concentric circles going out from us, bigger and bigger and bigger, that encompass the new reality we're manifesting, rather than straight line thinking, like I'm here now, there's a timeline, that's me then, because that's bullshit. It doesn't exist. That's why it doesn't really work ultimately. For a moment or two it can. It really works to encompass it laterally, because that's really what's going on. That's how it all works.
Now, Helen had pre-submitted half a question and I asked her to resubmit it, and she said, I do believe this satsang actually addressed my question, which was basically, what can I do to become a more conscious evolutionary, to expand my being and overcome my limiting beliefs about who I am and what is possible? Thanks, Stephen. That was a wonderful satsang. I have a new insight about embodying the Tao.
Oh, I'm so happy, and thank you. Because you know, I mean, you can hear I'm being theatrical because you know, I do get into that mode sometimes. But the actual joy of being able to firstly grasp the concept, embody the concept as a genuine thing over like years of daily practice, and get clear enough about it to be able to share it where it's meaningfully shared, so that the other receives it and actually takes it on, and actually feels himself embodying the Tao. I mean, wow, it's so, what a privilege, you know, what an exciting project to be involved with, really. Because honestly, you know, I don't know why I'm thinking of the 80s. Because I was hearing some 80s pop songs before. It was so hard in the 80s to explain to people what it was all about. It was I was so clumsy with it, and it was so confusing, and nobody knew anything about any of this stuff, and we're not open to any of it either. It's really beautiful how we've all evolved, not all, but you know, there's so much of us, so many of us have evolved so that we can meet like this and do this stuff. Oh, I'm excited. And the next one, please.
This is actually the last one, Stephen, and it is
Really, that's a long one.
From Diana. Hi Barefoot, awesome meditation as ever. I just have to share something that's changed my life. A few weeks ago I was suffering badly from hay fever along with asthma, etc., and was looking on the internet for answers. I came across a book that has recently been published called Brain Grain by an American neurologist. It has changed my life. I went gluten-free and low-carb and all my symptoms have abated. This book seems to have come out of the blue and helped me just by asking the Tao. The answers flowed to me. Have you heard of this book, and what do you think about diet affecting mind? Thanks, Doc.
That's very nice of you to say, Dan. And also, no, I've not heard of it, but I have now. And what do I think of diet? I know everybody has different ways of going at things at different times, and nutrition is definitely a major factor. My thing with it is I like doing kind of odd things like fasting on apples for 4 days, or doing a 9-day grape fast, or that kind of thing, because they're sort of spectacular, difficult, challenging. At the end of it, you feel totally transformed. And I've experienced where, you know, physical symptoms have completely disappeared through that. And I did a lot of work with the Bristol Cancer Centre for many years, and their whole thing was all about nutrition and how to use it properly. And it all plays its part. If I could be bothered reducing, it's all such a hassle, but when I've got the discipline to, I do a thing called the barefoot bomb, which is 4 apples, 4 pears, 4 big carrots, a clump of watercress and a radish. And you whip that up into a juice, and that is amazing. That will keep you going. And you could just live on that. I've done it. You go 3-4 days just on that, and it really cleans you out, and you just feel amazing after, so high, you know, like you're flying. And so it definitely works. And like, some people are gluten intolerant, and it's not going to work for everyone, and sometimes it works for a bit and then it doesn't, and something else works, and whatever. But actually, the way I look at it all is on the level of the organs. So it would be what was affecting energetically your liver, your spleen, and so on. What was your body not able to deal with at that level? And my way is to adjust at that level through energy, acupuncture, whatever. And then the diet thing sorts itself out. That's the Taoist way. It's just that when you're balanced inside, like we've been doing in the meditation, the body naturally yearns for various sorts of foods and shuns others. I mean, I never have to stop myself eating junk food. I just don't eat junk food because I don't want to. But I did used to want to. I used to like it. And then through the more balanced I've become, the less I want it. And they always say that with the practice, all these things naturally, gradually fall away. And I've not got no thing about it. If I want to eat some rubbish, I won't, because I don't want to. That's the thing. But there's also, you'll get a craving to eat this, to eat that. And yes, it's a great thing. It's just not my focus, but it is, of course, it's a great way of intervening. There are many ways. That's a great one. And this was a great way to intervene. into the warp and weft of the flow of events. And I feel, I know, I intuit, I get the sense, and it's my intention, my wish for you, that in these coming hours, tonight, tomorrow, and the days of this coming week, of this week we're in, that by remembering where we've just been, remembering the size and the expansiveness by being in your bag, as often as you can, only if it's just moments, you'll be expanding back into this big, huge sphere that we've created here, or we've been privy to, which will bring to you in every moment things that might not have happened before. Beautiful things will start happening. And it's your golden touch that you now have. You know, I have the golden touch. Just keep saying it. I now have the golden touch. And I do it with just 4 ounces. What I intend will be. And none of it's important. There's nothing to achieve. It's just a ride that we're on. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ride. And the more we let ourselves roll with it and enjoy the motion, the more the ride offers up all the bounty that we need and want. And of course you're going to get worried. I do. You know, we have these moments of fearing it's all going to go wrong. And when you do, just come into your back again, breathe, and you'll hear the voice telling you it's all fine. It's all totally fine. Now go and use your golden touch. And that's my wish for you. Bless you. Thanks for being here. Come next week. It's going to be wonderful. You know that. All right. Bye-bye.
Let all pain and suffering be dispelled. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled.